Okay, so today we're going to be talking about this Made in Brazil Game Changers versus Ballerina Cappuccino game. Now 2-0, you know, that's a good score. But what really makes this insane is that it's not one, but two 13-0s back to back. It's insane. So I'm gonna go over it, like the rounds that stuck out to me. There were a lot of rounds, so sorry if it's a little bit long. Coming into this round, basically what you need to know is that the Yoru, Bastardo, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, on the MIBR team has got, almost 1 point away from ult, and they're going to get ult. They're going to get this ult orb in A main, as you can see them pinging right now. And something you'll notice throughout the entire game, actually, is that MIBR has a really good understanding of how to maximize their ult points in a way that I don't even really see at Tier 1. Like, they are literally getting kills on the right people, getting deaths on the right people, getting orbs on the right people, even getting spike on the right people to maximize their ult point usage throughout the game. So you'll see that come into play here by, like, how does Yoru have ult in round 3? It's ridiculous. You're starting off in basically a 4-1. This Neon's going to slowly rotate towards B. What's really key here is the pressure being applied here by Sayuri on the Omen. As you can see, she's spamming top mid, spamming here, and that's kind of keeping these players stuck over here while we get some level of aggression towards A. And, I mean, maybe they're kind of confident that they can hold A site with just the Omen, or not Omen, sorry, Cypher. But as you will see shortly, that it means nothing against a Yoru ult. So Yoru comes through, clears pretty much everything, which is really good. I mean, especially with shorter ult times now. Flashes them. Then the Omen blind comes through, get the guaranteed kill, and basically get a free sight. Then Bastarda teleports back to their thing, and this push comes through. They get 2 kills, die, and that's the round. I mean, that's the round. They save after that. But that's ridiculous, no? Like, they single-handedly won that round. I mean, the Omen flash was also key integral, but, like, because they had the Yoru ult ready for this round, they were able to clinch up and win their bonus, which is, as you know, a pretty rare thing in Valorant to win your bonus. Next round I want to go over is round 5. Now, something that you may notice on your screen right now that's insane is the fact that Yoru has their ultimate again. It's been 2 rounds, they have their ult again. And that's what I'm talking about with this ult point maximalization. Like, they are feeding this stuff into Bastarda because Yoru ult is broken, and they are taking incredible advantage of that here on Sunset. So they're set up in this sort of 4-1, and then the Cypher trip here, which you'll notice is pretty common for what they do. They sort of leave this Cypher on an island, but that's okay because Lisa's cracked. So honestly, everyone on this MIBR team is cracked. But anyways, they're going to be pushing into B main here with the Yoru ult, the aforementioned Yoru ult, which is basically just going to give them a free sight. I mean, clone on top of the trip, so they can break the trip easy. Yoru ults on site, nobody's holding it. And then look at these post-plant positions that they get into. This is not something that you really see. Again, even in Tier 1, like Tier 1, the trend so far this year, if you believe Sideshow at least, is most of the teams have been playing off-site, except the teams that are winning Masters, which have both been on-site post-plant, holding shit down type teams. And this positioning, especially from SRN, is really, really good. I really like it. It really takes advantage of the new Sunset. Definitely something you couldn't do on the old Sunset, if you can even remember it. But anyways, look at this. First kill is a shorty. That is something you'll come to see a lot. But this positioning is pretty dang good. Like, you've got one holding front, back, and middle of sight. SRN's positioning is just so good because look, even from before when they push the smoke and then they come over, and then look who cleans it up, the Cypher that's been sitting in mid the entire round. The SRN's positioning is so good because they push this smoke with the shorty over here, and then come out, and instead of positioning in this corner where obviously you saw the breach peak and expect them to be, they're sitting in this corner. Like, whoa. Such a good post plant. I mean, such a good mix-up of positioning. And then, obviously, this late flank through mid just secures the round. And now we're on to round 9. This round is really interesting in terms of Sayuri is this sort of linchpin holding the whole plan together by having this tiles control. And then off of that tiles control, they're able to make a really coordinated push out of B. And I want to show you that util usage because it's just beautiful. Like, it's just a beautiful usage of utility. So let's watch this. Right. We've got a fight mid. Now, the important part of this is that we hold down tiles. That readiness for that aggression, obviously, that they know is coming through. But Sayuri winning that fight is super, super important. Now, you see them sort of making some noise towards B main. Take that orb so that Bastarda's one step closer to the ult. Right? Right. Then they're coming forward. This smoke comes down. A nade. But look at this. Look at this. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Sova Dart, Flash, and Ray's Satchel out. It's just such a it's such a incredible use of the util at hand. Like, it's not an overuse of util. They don't need to use that much, but they push out, they get the kill. You know, they have that advantage now. It's just so cool. It's so cool. I love what they're doing. And obviously, they win this 5v2. It's not even worth showing. Okay, actually, I forgot. There is one thing worth showing. So look, here comes Sova starting to plant, and then they're like, wait a minute, we're one away from Yoru ult. Let's let the Yoru plant so that Yoru's going to have ult ready for next round. I mean, again, this is the thoughtfulness, the forward thinking that other teams aren't exhibiting. I mean, that's how you get to a 13-0, right? Like, they're snowballing through. They are snowballing through in a way that it just seems completely unique to them. I haven't really seen anyone else do that. And if you have seen someone else do it, please tell me about it. Like, I'd love to watch it. Yeah. So, I'm going to come to the next round, round 10. Now, this one's interesting because it's that B main cage that I showed you guys earlier. And they are going to be pushing out of that with the Yoru ult they just earned last round. So let's watch that. They're also going to combo with the Sova ult, but, well, let's just see how it goes. It's a good idea. It's a really good idea. So, look. I like that cage. That cage is really good for holding off this B main aggression. I mean, look, that stun is pretty much wasted. Like, you can't capitalize off that stun running through a Cypher cage. You just can't. So look, comes out, spots 2, spots 3. We're Sova ulting, trying to get through. Now, they do get a spam kill through, and Bastarda gets traded out. But, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Who do you know? What Cypher do you know that's pushing through onto site after they've just lost 2 players? In a 4v3, who does that? Who does that? Lisa's cracked. I mean, Lisa's just cracked. I mean, the timing taken here is incredible because it gives them just free reign over the site. A free kill for Sayuri. They start planting to bait out the utility. They're still watching this. Now look. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Who's this? Mel. Mel is positioned, right, in that little cubby part of B, where, you know, normally you can't see in a back site. Right as Sayuri teleports, Mel peeks out of there to protect the teleport from a backside swing. And boom. It pays off and she gets a kill. I mean, it's just insane. Like, nobody else is doing it like this. Nobody. Nobody. And then they finally plant after baiting out all the utility and getting kills. And look again. Look again at this incredible post-plant positioning that other teams just aren't willing to do. I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Maybe I'm not watching enough, but I'm not seeing it. I mean, you're positioned here, here, and here. That is so protective of this plant spot. And look, right as they swing out, even if the Cypher manages to kill Sayuri, they're still getting traded out, and then it's a 2v1. And you're not winning that, not against this team. And look, Mel peaks again from that same positioning. I mean, what can I say? Cinema. Absolute cinema. Here comes round 12. Now, this round is a really great example of how they can adjust, because Made in Brazil, while they do have that wonderful aggression and util dump capabilities, they also have a really good way to react to the opponent. And their playstyle is very, I don't know, it just feels like their playstyle is, especially in these 2 maps, it just seems so all-encompassing. So watch, they're gonna almost perfectly absorb this B main aggression with just a Omen and a Yoru. So Omen's sitting here, hears them rushing in, preps the teleport. They break trip, Omen flashes, peeks out, gets stunned, teleports out safely, which then Bastarda can trade. Bastarda can trade it out. Bastarda comes back to help, teleports out, dodges a flash. Then they get, I mean, Bastarda gets a 3k. What's new? Same old, same old. Now they're in a nice little 4v1. And they're going to be able to close out the round from here. It's just so good. Like, I don't know. It's just so good. Yeah, get the kill here, you know, take B, da-da-da. You know, you see what's happening. After we endure, like, a 10-minute tech pause, which isn't that bad because I'm just watching the VOD, I am going to show you guys the final round, final pistol. I feel like this is always probably the hardest part of a 13-0, closing out the pistol, but hey, they did it, so who can you fault? Honestly, it's just a good round. It's just a good round. I'm just going to show it to you because it's just a good round. And you're going to be like, how'd they get to the 13? So I got to show you the 13. So their setup's actually pretty good. So they've got, I mean, it's kind of a 1-1-3 in the sense that this Omen can float between B and mid. They've got the trip top mid, which is always going to be a good thing, especially if it doesn't get broken. And this setup, it works out really well for them, this sort of hold here. And you'll kind of see the way in which they are spotting for information and then falling back to another line, but not really giving up the space entirely. So we'll step through that together. Kapu takes a pretty slow start. They take some tiles control. Little note out of Sayuri's book, I must say. But not really a convincing amount. They're just kind of holding so that Breach is able to stun A main. Which I believe, yeah, Breach actually does rip so that they can get past the one-way. Not bad. It's certainly not a bad way to push this at all. And honestly, I don't want to say Cappuccino is a bad team because I think they've got some, you know, pretty good aim, pretty good micro plays, but their macro, it isn't on the level of MIBR. And who is besides probably like Team Liquid. That peak is so nice. I mean, you really don't. I feel like that's a util peak I haven't really seen or thought of before, but like flashing out so that you can then nade, and then you have an advantage in the ensuing gunfight because there's a nade blooming on the ground in front of your opponents. So half of them ran away, one of them's left, and even though SRN dies, Bastarda's able to get the kill. And see, that's sort of take some aggression, but then hold your ground, push back. And right at the same time that's happening, they get the kill on the lurk, which is kind of instrumental to winning the round because now Capu's locked into A. So, I mean, then they get into these, I mean, look at these positionings. You've got Sova watching A main, here watching elbow, and then the one-way blooms right in their face. They're basically forced to go elbow. If they want to go short, they're going to get hurt and probably killed. And Bastarda's holding this. I think, yeah, they missed the one-way rip. Bastarda gets a dink, and then this Sova dart comes through, which sort of forces them to push sight, and we get a 2k and close it out. I mean, it's just, the positioning's so good, the util's so good, the teamwork is so good. I just love watching them. Okay, we're on map 2, Haven, and another 13-0. Not to spoil it, but I did already say it, I think. And they are playing the Fnatic Haven comp. Now, obviously I'm going to root for anyone who plays a Fnatic Haven comp because I love Boaster. So, let's watch this first round. It's going to be a C split. And they do this very beautifully in this sort of stages of moving forward. But it all feels sort of very fluid. So you've got the cam out here watching aggression, and they're walking so that it can kind of imitate, basically, the thought of, well, maybe it's just a Cypher lurking up. Because nobody else has made noise, right? And they even hear somebody jumping away from garage. Now, right as that smoke blooms, SRN pops. Shield starts pushing through. Silences backside, which turns off the trip. SRN, that flash dodge is incredible. I couldn't do that. I suck at this game, to be honest. I just like watching it and praising it and thinking about it. I don't like playing it because I'm bad. But dodges that flash. I'll show you it in the replay. Dodges the flash, gets the kill on the Yoru peeking out or pushing out of CT. Then with that, able to peek back sight. The flash secures the kill. They're pushing into this smoke. I'm pointing with my finger. They're pushing into the sight smoke, which is a good sight smoke. I won't deny. It's a good sight smoke. Again, Capu, not a bad team by any means. They just got rolled because MIBR is incredible. I don't know what to say. And that's pretty much it. Like, then they get into this really nice post-plant positioning. Interesting plant position, but I guess for the situation it makes sense. Where they're holding this high-low. Now, it's not going to fucking matter because, again, Lisa is cracked. Lisa's just going to get 2 here. Bonk. Bonk. You know. Usual. Casual. The casual Lisa play. But even if that hadn't happened, the high-low there, and you're going to see another high-low in this game that's actually criminal. But yeah, post-plant positioning, really good. Really good at holding for floods. Which, again, is what the 2 Masters winning teams have done, if you believe Sideshow. So, hey, double duelist, holding on site for post-plant. That's a recipe for success. Let's go into round 2. Now, this round is important, not just in the vacuum of itself, but also in setting up the next round. The buy this round is really cool. 2 rifles, outlaw, and 2 pistols. Really setting themselves up to do well. Now, they obviously they're going to want to take C because they have the better weaponry, C long. So they start having this aggression down towards C long with a hold towards mid and a hold towards A main. The smoke there is threatening. Sorry, I say the smoke there. I mean this smoke over here on A main is threatening that lurk through. So hopefully keeping some people tied towards A. Now, what's going to come through here is they're sort of held off of this position on C. So, while making that aggression towards there and pulling some players towards there, now they're slowly going to start moving towards A. But they've created these question marks. Now, admittedly, they're against 4 classics and a shorty, but it's good. It's good. I promise. It's good. So, here they come in on the site exec, 3 down long, you know, yada yada, and they've got this trip here to hold for the push, which is pretty good. Down from, down through sewers comes Lisa, and because of this sort of pinch positioning, the shorty's forced to sit in that corner. Lisa gets an easy kill with the ghost. And then here they come into their post plants and watch this outlaw. Boom. Collat. That's outlaw value, baby. Then teleports onto site. Now that's not the end of it. Because they're going to hold here, you know, for good measure. They're going to hold off these 2 pistols. But watch what happens. They've switched the rifle to Sayuri and given SRN the classic. This, again, goes back to what I'm saying about them managing ultimate economy so well. Even though I don't believe SRN gets a kill here, give them the rifle or give them the pistol and go kill. You know, go get an ult warp, get a kill, die, whatever needs to happen. Build that advantage. So, push out, get dinked, you know, the usual. But that's not where it ends because guess what? They have another pistol. So, Bastarda gets a kill. Pushed up to 3 ult orbs, by the way. And then, look who's got a pistol in their hands. Bastarda. Bastarda's got a pistol in their hands. Now, are they going to get a kill? No. They're not going to get a kill. But, halfway to your ultimate, and you've saved everything you brought into the round, that sounds like a win to me. That sounds like a win to me. So the reason I showed you the last round is so that I can show you this round with the full context. Look at their buy. Their buy is basically the same, if not better, than Cappuccino's buy. And their ult economy is surging ahead, slowly surging ahead, building up that snowball. I mean, that's obviously required to win something 13-0. Yeah, I mean, it's just beautiful. Like, when have you seen that buy on a bonus? Almost never. So they're coming in with this sort of 1-1-3. Now, I think if I was doing this round, I would have put the Yoru there and the ISO here, but it is what it is. Basically, they're coming across, taking that space. They get a dink here on the Neon, which is pretty important. Pretty important, in my opinion. And Sayuri is sort of lurking, walking up here as they're sending space down here. With that, Sayuri is able to secure an easy peasy kill on the Sova and they start, the rest of the team comes towards A. Now, something you're going to notice throughout this entire game is sort of, and even the past game, their Cypher, Lisa, is always setting herself up for these incredible, incredible late lurks, sort of sitting in mid. Now, here she comes to play with the team to get them into an advantage. Now, look here. They're Omen blinded and 1 HP. So look at what SRN's able to do. Basically, just walk onto site. Walk onto site and get this flank on the Yoru who's flash peeking down short. I mean, it's just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like, the util usage, the way that they're playing off of each other is incredible. And now look what happens after they get the plant and they know they're going to win this round. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Look at what they start to do. They start to chase. Who knows any other team that has chased on a bonus? Chased for kills on a bonus because they're in an economic advantage. Like, genuinely, like, looking at their money, I don't understand how they have this much money still left over. Unfortunate knife pull out there. But, like, chasing in a bonus. Chasing on your bonus is insane when you have 4 rifles. Because they can all buy next. If they die, they can all buy next. It's so... it's just cinema. I don't know what to say. It's cinema. I brought you now to round 5. This is a really good example of their standard C hit, which you're going to see somewhat iterated upon later down the line. What you're also going to notice, and what I've pointed out before and is true basically for their entire playstyle, is this Cypher. Their Cypher, Lisa, they just sit in spawn basically. They sit in spawn and wait to either late lurk, join the team, whatever makes sense at the time for the decision. Usually a late lurk or holding for flank. And the other 4 of them are just going to push down C long. And it's a really good sort of multi-stage site take. So you'll see they push in. Unlucky on the ult for SRN. Honestly, if I was watching this back and I said, I'd be so pissed. Like, how do you thread that needle? It's kind of beautiful. So we're coming out onto site. We've got your TP going back site, but probably not going to come to any fruition. Now look. This site smoke, obviously placed by the defenders, is good for playing on site. I won't deny that. But it does kind of give free front site control. So they've taken this front site. They're going to get the plant down. They're going to kill this Cypher pushing out of here. And then they get the plant down. Now look, they're holding inside of this smoke. Right as, okay, the enemy Omen flashes. And the immediate reaction from Bastarda is to flash out. Now, obviously, nobody was pushing CT off of that, and they get shot in the back of the head, which is unlucky. But then we get a trade here, and that sort of just closes up the round, with Sayuri getting a kill. The shorty is a little aggressive here. Now look, they're not a bad team. Again, I'm not here to shit on Cappuccino. Like, that play was nice. That was a nice little micro play. But what I'm saying is I feel like Made in Brazil has just an insane macro level understanding of how to play to their strengths of double duelist and farming those ult orbs and getting into a snowball situation. Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do for the rest of the year because this is, I mean, it's incredible. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice little micro play from Destiny to Omen, but still gets shut down. And the round's over. Now, let's come around to round 7, where you're going to see a little bit of an iteration on their C hit. Again, it's still that sort of 4-1, Cypher sitting in spawn. Let us watch this hit. And the synchronization of their utility. Sort of like on their... that push in mid they did on Sunset. This is pretty similar to that. So, look. They're coming through. They've got a drone, you know, clone, and shielding, walling up. Now watch what happens here. They wait for this... I'm pointing with my finger again. They wait for this Your TP to hit backside. Then we get a Omen blind in combination with a... what's it called? Undercut. An undercut from ISO. A TP backside and a dart. You can't react to all of those things at once. There's 3 people on site. They can't react to everything at once. So, you know, trades, and the dart still comes through, which allows this Sova ult to get a kill. And the Sova... even just that... sorry. Just even that micro of putting the Sova ult back here so that the enemy Omen is forced to stay in this position and forced to take this fight. Guys, it's so good. It's so good. Sayuri wins another pretty important gunfight because she's the GOAT. And we're put into a situation where they try to save, and honestly, I'm pretty sure they lose the op here, even trying to save, which is rip. The one op they were able to buy the entire match. Oh yeah, they did get the kill. Let's watch. Peek up here, leg shot, boom. Lisa. Lisa. That's all I have to say. That's going to bring us right into round 8. Cappuccino just took a timeout, and Main Brazil is going to switch it up. They're going to be sort of doing a mid look. They're going to be looking towards mid. So, watch. They are going to be... it's a really nice default. Where they've got Sayuri watching here. They've got stuff set up for... a main aggression this trip, most notably. And then I believe SRN's going to be watching this line too. And then you've got this sort of walk down mid. So let's watch this. Yeah, I'm. If I had to guess, I'd say SRN's holding something here in case they're aggressing. I don't think they'd be staring at a wall for no reason, so that's my guess. But you see with this sort of information, SRN starts holding towards here. Now, they walk up here. Bastarda gets called back to sort of hold while they drone here. Now, look at this. SRN's pulled off of the A watch, left it to Lisa. And Sayuri's sort of pulling into. So they've held for the 2 main aggressions, and now they're coalescing into mid. I mean, it's a beautiful default. I know it only lasted like 20 seconds, but it's a really nice default. They're droning through here. You're going to see Sayuri break the cam here in a second. And then walking up together, 2 duelists walking up together right to the entrance of B before they pop out onto B. So, let's watch this. Drone's coming through here, shoots through here, which scares them out of garage, right? Got information zone in garage. Then we get the kill here. The destruction on the cam. Then we're setting up here. Broken the trip. And we're coming in. Look at this dart, by the way. I've never seen this dart. Maybe I just don't pay attention enough to where Sovas are darting. That dart's crazy, no? What? How do you hit that? I need to see that. But that dart is instrumental because they get a really good kill here. Easy kill. And then the 2 duelists are able to take here. The ISO shield blocks one of the Sova ult pulses. I mean, just cinema. And then look at how they pull into these post-plant positions. Look, they've got a sort of... can we see it on their screen? Hold on. Right. We've got this basically high-low for A-Link in this corner and on top of the box. You're going to see it come to fruition right here as the smoke fades. These 2 are going to line up here. They get the kill here. Then Bastard is able to trade out 2. From that high-low setup, which is ridiculous. Now, again, Cappuccino, not bad players. They're not bad players at all. They're Neon. I mean, this is a good little look. They slide in, get a kill, whip around, get another kill. They're going to jump right over. I mean, in another world, they headshot SRN, but even if they did that, look, Spike is planted right here, and look at where the Cypher is. Late lurking from spawn. I mean, you can't. You couldn't write out a better game plan. Now we're on round 9, which is, I think, a really, really good example of a really good default. They are going to be having Cypher pressuring A main, Omen pressuring garage, and what is that? Yoru flash peeking window. They do this all pretty much simultaneously, and even SRN is holding towards C long. So, I mean, just watch this default. Like, they just have such good information that the enemy team doesn't allow themselves to have. And look at this. They're pushing up here, they're taking control here, they're taking control here. And look how scared they are. I mean, look, you've essentially got 3 players in spawn right now. That's insane. 3 players in spawn at 128 in the round. It's just so good. It's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful what they are able to do. So let's watch the rest of the round because it gets a little bit dicey, So they're darting into garage. They get pinged here, and instead of pushing through on the aggression they've made, they've realized, okay, well, we got Yor to TP out of A, and Sova doesn't have a dart, so Sova has to be holding this with their body. Cypher's probably playing on C, because that's where they've been the whole time, and boom, they get basically a free A site. So I'll just skip ahead to that. But, like, literally, free A site, because their default is so effective, and it pushed the enemy team basically back into spawn. Now, they are going to get Yor ulted, and I believe Neon ulted. But they're going to be able to hold those two things off because the Neon's at 1 HP from a previous engagement. And then, you know, your ult comes to no fruition because they get smoked off. I mean, yeah, it's just so good. And then they're holding spawn with a Cypher cage, a really good Cypher cage. The Yoru has to TP back into heaven to play up with their team. And now they're held under here, right? Bastarda gets a kill. Bastarda gets another kill. And look, stuck in a 1v1. Bastarda only has a classic against a 10 HP opponent. Now watch this drive. Now watch this drive. I mean, just out auras for the kill. I mean, keeping the 13-0 alive. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You can hear the... I don't know Brazilian, but I'm sure they're saying the exact same thing. Or Brazilian Portuguese. My bad. This round. Oh, they did get another op. Obviously, I wasn't paying that much attention. SRN is going to go crazy. I mean, basically, SRN just goes crazy this round. There's not really another way to put it. They start off with this interesting... I would call it interesting. I mean, it's not something I've really seen before, but like 2-3 split. I guess they've sort of got the call that their opponents haven't pushed down mid almost at all this game. I don't think they've pushed down the mid at all this game, actually. So, sad little miss from Bastarda, but, you know, still my GOAT. I'm not going to say nothing. They get a dart up here. Yeah, okay, look. So they get sort of dicked down in A main by this push up from the Neon, which they hadn't caught. They hadn't caught the Neon cross. Especially with the Bastarda op. So Bastarda stuns, get the kill out, you know, but then, okay. SRN kills the op. Because they're my GOAT. They're my GOAT. Remember that. SRN's my GOAT. And Sayuri has walked herself into this position, which is really good. Especially when you've just gotten a kill on C. They've killed the two that they thought were aggressing A. Don't even know that the Omen's there. At most, they could have heard a TP, but I think they were too far away to hear that. Especially since they're both on long and fighting. And here comes down. Look, they get kind of stymied by this smoke here. And, look, a greedier player would have tried to shoot the Neon there. That's all I'm going to say. A greedier player would have tried to shoot the Neon. But a true wise player, waits for the second rotator. Gets the kill. Now, if you're paying attention, SRN just hit their ult. Which, they actually missed 2 ults already this game. I don't think I showed the other round where they missed the ult. But yeah, like, finally hits the ult, and look what comes of it. I mean, just look what comes of it. Sayuri got a kill. Great. But SRN, second kill. Now, they're basically leaving SRN to be a sacrificial lamb here. You know, throw your util down, push. We're going to go take this and hope we can win in a 2v2, 2v1, potentially if you get a kill. That's not what's going to happen. Obviously, my GOAT SRN, that's never what's going to happen. So, they're holding this. Shield fades. I mean, a nice little flick. A nice little flick holds perfectly for the Neon slide. I mean, wow. Wow. Like, wow. Round 12, they basically flip what they did last time with 2-3 is now a 3-2. But they're pushing through, well, they're making this space and push towards here. I mean, look at how much they've just dominated on C site, that they're forced to put both the controller and Senti there. Like, that's how you know you've really been battering a site, is when they're throwing smokes and Senti util down here. Now, they get the Omen flash out, and as part of that, this dart comes through. And look, off of one ping, Bastarda gets the kill. My GOAT. Bastarda gets the kill through the boxes. And that immediately starts pulling everyone else over to the site. And look, they're like, there's a smoke in our face. We just got to kill. But we're not going to push it. We're not going to push it. We're going to rotate A. I mean, again, like, it's such thoughtful play. I say right as Lisa kind of feeds, but I probably would have done the same in this situation. Again, I'm not good at this game. Break the trip that, I mean, wow, 5-head from Sayuri, thinking to even shoot there. And look, it keeps this Neon tied into this sort of A-lane positioning. And look at what they've done to this team. Look at where Sova's sitting. Sova spawned closer to the sites than Sova's sitting right now. I promise you that. I mean, that's just insane. Like, you've scared him out so bad. This flash peek, again, not a bad idea. But look, they've peeked into 3. One of them was holding anti or turned it or something. Gets the kill. One of them, Melissa. Or Mel. And look, another free A site. Now, this comes through, gets a kill on Bastarda. And we get a TP down long. Again, another 2 ults invested. Can they make it through this round? 3v3, 2 ults in. Let's see. I mean, we all know they're going to make it through, right? But look, TP's through long, gets killed by Mel. Mel pops this round. And then, look, we've still got an Omen blind. They used theirs immediately. This is the difference, again, that I want to point out. They have such a good understanding of macro in terms of ult usage, feeding ult orbs, chasing for kills, not just for those ults, but also for economical advantage. And the way they use their utility is so thoughtful. It's very thoughtful. Where that Omen sort of threw out their blind carelessly to try and stop a push that they felt was coming, even though they had already thrown a smoke. Sayuri has saved that Omen blind for, I would say, the optimal use in this round. I can't think of a better place for it to be used in this round. Watch. Drone through here. And look, they're still holding the Omen blind. They wait until someone comes down. Blind. SRN gets the kill. And look, SRN is sitting here with the shorty again. Like, guys, buy shorty. If you have a rifle, buy a shorty. Like, it just gives you something to do in every situation, because this isn't the angle or a hold you take with the rifle. I mean, you could, but it's just better to take with a shorty. Now, they don't get the kill, but, like, still. This final pistol round is basically, like, the crown jewel of not just this map, but the entire, like, series of 2 13-0s. It gets a little bit mud, a little bit gluey, but, I mean, the finish, it's like a cinema photo, beautiful, incredible. Couldn't have written a better finish for the 13-0. So Capu's going to be pushing mid, and we've sort of, like I'm on the team, MIBR Brazil has sort of set up in that 1-3-1 to try and hold this mid aggression. Dart comes through, Lisa basically just falls off, expecting a sort of push into garage, which is true. I mean, it's a 3-man push into garage. Bastarda tries to take this timing, loses the fight, unfortunately. But not a bad push by any means, especially because SRN was watching window for them. Now, they're sort of pulling back the enemy team. Oh my god, enemy team, like I'm on MIBR Brazil. But they're pulling back, resetting, and here we see some beautiful, I mean, look, while they're resetting, MIBR Brazil is taking great re-clear timings, re-clearing into garage, and taking back that space they lost, even in a 4v5. And look, they're gonna keep pushing through with SRN. They hear this sort of aggression onto C, they've smoked it off, and they're pushing through together as 3. They're going to get this kill here, and then basically flip the map. Now, while this map flip is going on, with 3 of them coming down here, the plant's going to come down, what I want you to pay attention is this Sova. This Sova is key. Mel, Melissa, key. Pay attention. So, SRN's coming through, pushing through. Misses a bit. Yeah, well, we all have our whiffs. Now, the other 2 are sitting here basically waiting for Mel to start pushing through. That Cypher cage, pretty nice for holding through. Now, finally, These two have pulled all of their attention. Look, 3 of them looking here, 1 of them jumping up window to maybe try and flank. Right? No, not even. Not even. All 4 of them are looking at main. They haven't seen the Sova. Until now. Peeks out. Gets 1. Gets 2. Pulls forward. Both their teammates die. Holds to half. Dart comes through. Doesn't get scanned. Gets the kill. Throws the dart. Pushes out here. Gets the kill. And then, oh my god. My heart was racing watching this. Heart was racing. Look at this. 0.23 diffuse. Wow. It's cinema. It's cinema. If I was them, I'd be out my seat. But, you know, average day to them, I guess. Well, thank you for watching that with me and letting me break it down for you. If you have any other Game Changers games that you think are worth watching, worth breaking down, honestly, I don't really watch too many. I just watched this one because I saw on Twitter that they had gotten the back-to-back 13-0, and I wanted to check out what it was all about. I literally could not make a video about this because nobody else was. So yeah, if there's stuff, other GC stuff that you want me to make a video about or you want me to watch, please let me know. I would love to get into that. Yeah, bye. Thank you.